Welcome to another episode of Impact Chasin. I am your host, Fran, and today we're going to have a very good conversation. We're going to talk about Black excellence versus Black exhaustion. So in this episode, I want to do a deep dive into the pressure of being twice as good just to be seen as enough, the constant hustle for success, and whether Black excellence is really empowering us or is it burning us out. So let's talk about it. When I think about Black excellence, I think about the concept being uplifting, inspiring, and how it pushes us to be greater. Even in history, when I think about former President Barack Obama, how he had to pretty much be perfect. He had to be married. They had to have children that were polished. He couldn't have any scandals, no affairs, no outside children. He couldn't make any mistakes. He had to appear damn near perfect in order to be really seen and accepted amongst the masses. And then on the other hand, you have other presidents, who have done a number of different things and they've been able to be accepted. And I often ask myself, why is that? And seeing someone like President Obama win, there was a sense of pride and power that I saw in Black people winning despite all of the systematic challenges. There's a pressure that we don't talk about. And as an eldest daughter, I think this is something that I have definitely struggled with, is overachieving. So here's the thing. We grow up, especially if you're the oldest, and if you're the daughter, you probably understand this even more. There is a constant need to ensure that you are just about perfect and that you're in the space where you can take care of everybody. Having to be the one that is not just physically strong, but mentally strong. Always being able to pour, always setting a newer goal. Once you knock that out, you hardly have the time to even embrace and celebrate what it is that you've accomplished because you're already setting the next achievement. And I think that the idea that we have to work twice as hard needs to be taken very seriously, because that is a major weight of carrying an entire community's expectations on our backs. And I don't think that is honestly fair. And not only that, I don't think that it's realistic, right? Because sometimes we can overcommit and that causes us to underachieve. And then sometimes we can overachieve and overcommit, and it's crazy because success often comes with the burden of proving our worth in white dominated spaces, or in spaces, and not necessarily white dominated spaces, that can be true for some, or just particularly marginalized dominated spaces, such as if you're in a male dominated space, female dominated spaces. Some of us have that pressure. And as a full-time entrepreneur, I'm going into year 2 for me full-time. There is an exhaustion that comes with being an entrepreneur like no other. There is a dark side to hustle culture that I don't think people really are honest about. The grind until you collapse, like I can sleep when I die. Mentally, is that sustainable? That is not sustainability. You need rest. As a Black woman, I am very, very clear that I have days where I rest. I have days where I do nothing. I have days where I have days with my friends, where I may create space for love, with relationships. I have time in my schedule where I ensure that I am not grinding. But to the people on the outside looking in, it may appear that I'm constantly going, and going. No, no, no. I am not team run myself into the ground for the sake of others. I think it's very important that we are honest with ourselves about hustling. I do not hustle. I am impact chasing, but I don't lead with I'm a female boss type of energy. I'm actually a feminine CEO. And so what that does is it trains the brain to ensure that I remain feminine and that I remain soft, right? But please believe, when it's time to go into the boardrooms and have the conversations, I know how to be a dog, you know? And so it's just a matter of balance. But I think it's so insane that people will attempt to make you feel guilty for resting or for not being productive 24/7. You are not put on this earth to be productive 24/7. Black women and that strong black woman stereotype, it needs to be thrown out, because we are always expected to be resilient, never allowed to be vulnerable. And I am hands down one of the most vulnerable people that I know. If I don't do anything else, I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to sit with what I feel. But most importantly, I am going to be honest. If I am exhausted, I'm going to say I do not have the capacity to do that. I want to be there for you and I want to hear you fully, but I don't have it to give. And we have to be honest about that, because otherwise we're doing ourselves like a major disservice, you know? And I just think that people have done a very good job of attempting to make people feel guilty about Black exhaustion. And there's no way you can truly practice Black excellency at the level that you could if you are exhausted. So rest, you know? And then oftentimes racism and microaggressions can add an extra layer of stress to professional as well as personal success. That's a whole different podcast. And so when it comes to redefining Black excellence, I thought about it. Can Black excellence include rest, peace, and joy? Absolutely. There is no way you can be excellent in the way that you need, that you could, if you're not joyous, if you're not happy, if you're not at peace. Guys, there was one day I had to drive about 5 hours to a school district, and I was working with students, and I'm going to be honest, I was just not my best self because I didn't get an adequate amount of rest. And I went back to the hotel. I took me some medicine. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I slept for 8 hours. And I was like, wow. I woke up feeling so rejuvenated. I felt my whole outlook, perspective, my energy. I felt at peace. I was joyous. Everything felt great because all I did was rest. I needed sleep. The next day of prep was excellent, in my opinion, in comparison to the previous day. So we have to shift the narrative from hustle to balance. We have to ensure that we are having fun, getting money, getting rest, working out, exercising, being conscientious of what we are eating, that we make time for love, that we make time for our children, family, all of the things, because mental health, self-care, and setting boundaries, those are extremely important in the pursuit of success. There's no way you're going to be successful if you are not practicing setting boundaries. And you don't set boundaries for the sake of shutting people out. You set boundaries for the sake of preservation of relationships. You include self-care. My self-care routine normally is on Thursdays, where I ensure I get my brows done, go get massages, get pedicures, manicures, where I go do something nice for me, go buy me another bottle of Mugler or something, like whatever it is I want to do, I do it that day. And it makes me feel so good about the work that I do because I'm able to pour into myself. Mental health, seeing a therapist consistently has been life-changing for me. I've been able to tackle some things and still not lose sight of who I am, because mental health is so important. Being able to sit with how you're feeling, giving myself 20 minutes a day to do absolutely nothing and sit in solitude has been mind altering. Also, being able to have hard conversations and let people know, hey, when you've done this, it impacted me in this way. If you want me around, this should change. And sometimes I just don't have conversations because people's behavior will tell you everything that you need to know. So here's my last question. How do we support each other? We need to celebrate everyday wins, not just the major accomplishments. The fact that you woke up this morning and had the audacity to put your clothes on and go to work, or work for yourself, or take your child to school, that's an accomplishment. That's a win, right? So when the major things happen, we have no problems with celebrating ourselves. There's someone near and dear to me. She and I were having a conversation, and her birthday's coming up. I asked her, I said, what is it that you plan on doing for your birthday? She said, I don't have anything planned because I don't celebrate my birthday. I said, oh, we got to change that, because you are so important to this world. You're important to me. You need to be celebrated. And most importantly, you are important to yourself. So making sure we celebrate everyday wins. Celebrate yourself. Also, we need to create spaces where Black success does not feel like survival. Another thing, community over competition. We should uplift each other and not just outperform one another. It's not about that. It is about community over competition. So I want to invite my listeners to DM me, to comment, or email me your thoughts about what does Black excellence mean to you. I want you to take one step this week. Here is my challenge. Take you one step this week to prioritize rest without feeling guilty about it. Plug, if you want to, plug your timer up or something, and be sure that you set your timer for 8 hours or 10 minutes. A 10 minute restart or reset. 8 hours at 9 o'clock. Get you 8 hours of sleep. I just really want you to make sure you prioritize you and know that you are indeed Black excellence. I chose to do this particular episode because Black History Month is February. But Black history is every day. There are so many different things that are happening in this world. I think it's so important that you know that you are excellent, that you are a winner. Success should not feel like survival, because you are a thriver. You're going to live your life at 3 levels: sinking, surviving, or thriving. Choose to thrive. You got this. We have to continue to uplift each other, because if I'm just being honest, we got. Community over competition. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If anything I said resonated with you, share it with someone. Like, comment, subscribe. You can find us on YouTube at Impact Chasin Podcast, as well as all other platforms. No matter what you do, make sure you impact Chasin and have a great day on purpose. Blessings.